The Real Estate Photography Podcast is brought to you by tourbuzz.net, high-definition virtual tour and photograph hosting, now with interactive floor plans. Sign up for your free trial today. Hello and welcome to the Real Estate Photography Podcast with Mike Muriello. Today we're going to be talking about a combination of production, post-production, and lighting/flash tip. So basically what we're looking at here is the finished product, and we're going to walk through the steps to how to kind of shoot, edit, and light to get something that looks like this. And what I'm trying to aim for here in this particular instance is how to light, how to get your correct white balance and fix colors that are blending. So here's where we begin. Actually, where we begin is one step before this. What we do is we shoot 7 bracketed shots to end up with a result like this after it's fused together. So these are the fused together images. All right, so what you can see here is, compared to what we just saw, it's not as good. All right, and we got a couple of things going wrong here. We'll come back to them in a second. The next shot we do is the exact same composition. Don't move the camera. All we do this time is we light. What we're using here are just 2 small SB600s off camera, and I actually took a picture with my phone to show what it looks like. So here's the kitchen, obviously. Here's the camera, and here are the 2 flashes. And what they're doing, this is quick and dirty lighting. Basically what we're doing is we're firing them into an opposite corner to basically produce a new diffused form of light, a source of light, sorry. So our new source of light is obviously behind me to the right. So this is where our light's coming from. And it's easy to do this sort of lighting technique because all the light comes from one source, so you're not dealing with a whole lot of shadows. It's not very interesting lighting, but it's really straightforward. So this is what we get when we do that. As you can see, now you know where the light's coming from. You're going to see brighter faces, and on the sides you're going to see a little bit dimmer. And if you compare, for example, this is an easy way to track back light sources. You know where the light source is now, but look back to the exposure fusion where the only light sources here are the windows, and you saw back here there's another window right there. So those are our light sources when it comes to exposure fusion. And then here's what happens when we add light. And we basically have it coming from one specific direction, and it's a very large diffused direction. All right, so we're still not there yet. And what we have is a nice picture. Flash produces a very nice result. The colors are accurate, and what I mean by that is we don't have competing white balances meshing into one another. If you come back here and shadow, and here's what I mean by that. Specifically in regards to white balances, you're going to notice under the cabinets you have different colored lights, and you have different color lights in the recessed lighting and different color lights coming inside. When you add lighting, it evens the tones out that are affected by those lights. Now, under the cabinet is still, those are, color temperature is really off on those. You have to go to some serious Photoshop to fix them, but the competing light temperatures from the recessed lighting and the windows are fixed, and they don't bleed as much when you start to light. Okay, and the shadows, by the way. If we're going to go from right to left, take a look at the shadows created by just ambient light on the wine bottles, the chairs, that onto the wall, this over here, down here, because this light is coming from the window and it's shooting down, and there becomes this. And then watch what happens when we light the room. We get rid of all of those shadows because we're overpowering the ambient light. And we do, and you notice this, we get this new reflection on the microwave. We get a couple of new reflections on the ground. So if you look at the floor in this compared to the floor when it's lit. Okay, so we're problem solving here. I like the color balance of this, and I really like the idea of being able to see the window panes in this one, and I like the floor and the microwave in the exposure fusion. So what we're going to do is we're going to drag the lit version into the fused version. All right, and now there's no blend mode. It's just normal right now. So if I were to turn off that layer, you'd go back to the blended. Now we're looking at the lit version. Well, there's a nice happy medium when it comes to blend modes, and well, you've got your pick right here, and there's a couple of different ones you could pick that will give you a really nice start. But this one is quite simply the easiest one to just affect your color balance, and this is luminosity. So we're going to select luminosity as our, and if we didn't see that, I'm going to hit undo. It's a subtle difference, but it's an important one. There's our normal color balance, and there's with the luminosity filter. You're going to notice a couple of things. Some of these, mainly down here, it looks a little yellowish, and that's because the walls are yellow, but this is actually white. And when we have our flash, it's going to absorb and reflect whatever color the walls are painted. So when we change it to a luminosity blend mode, this comes back to reality. One thing I don't like are the floors in terms of the added reflection. So if we were to turn this off real quick, this is a much smoother reflection. The microwave and the window. So this is a simple trick. We've all done this before. We're basically going to, and I turn on the brush and we're painting black on a mask, and I'll lower the size of this. This is again quick and dirty. We're not supposed to bring back a lot of detail outside, but we do want to see the window panes. Okay, we'll do it again over here. Really, oops, I'm not painting this way. Really subtle difference. Not supposed to be a huge difference. Here's where it gets a little bit bigger. We're going to take out that reflection by showing off the other one. Oh, I went a little too far. Okay. Now, here's the difference again. Let's do this. Oh, I forgot one more reflection. Sorry. This one's easy enough. There's a difference there. Okay, so what we took was the parts that we liked of the blended image, and we masked them into what we have now. Okay, so if we were to go back, I'm going to move one over. This is the result we get. So here's flash and flash only, and here's a combination of the two. You're going to notice the color here is white compared to a little bit yellow. The floors are much more natural color that we got in our exposure fusion. So exposure fusion has its strengths. Everything has its strengths and weaknesses. But right now, we're just trying to combine the two to kind of get a nice mesh, and it's really simple to do. So if you know how to light a room and you know how to take in a bracketed series of exposures, you can kind of combine these two. Now, after I finished combining the two, I'd be a little bit happier cropping the image and changing some of the contrast levels to get something along the lines of this. The only thing I would do in this image to kind of finalize it is I'd fix, because there's all these fingerprint smudges on these bar stool chairs. These need to be fixed up, and once you take care of them, there's a little bit of clone stamping that needs to be done. It'll be a lot less distracting, and in fact, the exposure of these could come down just a little bit. They don't have to be that well lit. They're not that important. So this is kind of the final image that with a little bit of touch up that I would be okay with. So that's sort of combining blended exposures, a lit picture, and then changing it to your blend mode in Photoshop to luminosity to kind of keep your colors accurate while retaining the best parts of exposure fusion. All right. Well, thanks for listening. Have a good one.